Hi everyone, Mira's here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. In this video, I want to tell you about the experience that we had at a new resort that recently got built in Mexico. The name of the resort is Bahia Principe Grand Tequila. Bahia Principe is not a new hotel by any means, but Grand Tequila is a new part of the resort that they have recently built as of a couple of months ago, or to be specific, December 2025. And that is exactly when we visited, that is exactly when we stayed there, and I'm ready to tell you all about our experience. So without any further ado, let's jump right into this video. Grand Tequila is the new part of Bahia Principe, and it is adults only part of the resort. They have other parts where you can travel as a whole family, but this part is specifically for adults only. My favorite thing is that you can fly to 3 different airports in Mexico and get to this resort fairly quickly. I'm gonna insert here all the airports that you might be looking into in order to get to this resort. Whatever the case is, all 3 airports will get you to the resort with approximately the same amount of time and distance. Now, as we enter the resort, of course, the number one thing I would like to talk about is the reception and our overall check-in experience. I'm not gonna lie, it was not my favorite experience, and it was not my highlight of the entire stay. I want to begin with the fact that they only have 2 people helping you throughout that check-in experience, and let me make a comment. One person is helping with check-in and the other person is helping with check-out. Meaning if it's a Saturday and there's a huge group arriving, which is exactly what the case was for us, there's about 30 people, everyone is trying to get checked in, all of a sudden that one person is very overwhelmed. So that check-in process was a little bit slow or slower, compared to other experiences that I had before. But that's not an issue, things take time, that's okay, I'm willing to wait. That did not ruin the experience for me. What did, however, is by the time we got there, by the time we got checked in, it was already 3:30 and our rooms were still not ready. That's when I was a little bit worried, but thankfully they offered us, we can go and get lunch. There's that option, which was nice. We were hungry after the airport, after a long flight. We got our lunch in hopes that, we're gonna get our rooms right now, but unfortunately, no. We still had to wait for quite a while until we got our rooms ready. It upset me a little bit because it's 4 o'clock, the sun is still shining, everyone is enjoying the beach and the pool, and we're just kind of stuck here at the reception waiting for our rooms, waiting to, go in, change, and get going with our day. The whole idea of us flying in so early was that we would be able to actually enjoy the first day of being there, but unfortunately, that got a little bit ruined by the fact that our rooms were not ready yet. Nor did we really get any apologies for that. It was very much like a standard, your room is not ready, sit down, wait, and we'll deal with you later. I feel like a lot of it has to do with probably the fact that they have recently started working. I'm sure they're gonna work these things out, not an issue. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna hate this resort for this one little thing, but it was just a little bit frustrating in the moment. Another thing that I will add to that is the fact that we then had to also carry our own luggage to the rooms, which would not have been an issue if our rooms were not on the 2nd floor and there was no elevators. So if you are traveling without, somebody who's going to be able to help you with your luggage, that's something to consider, maybe be a little bit more, clear on the fact that you might need somebody to help you with the luggage and getting it up the stairs, as there's, again, no elevators, just the stairs. Enough of that. None of that, of course, ruined anything about our experience, and I would love to tell you all about that now. I think it's important to realize that everything that I'm going to be reading in this video, I'm comparing this resort to resorts in the same price point. So we paid around $1,500 per person for 1 week, flight included there and back, as well as the full 7 days at the resort. So when it comes to similar resorts around the similar price point, that's what I'm going to be comparing this resort to. So when it comes to check-in, 2 out of 5 is the best I can do. I was just a little bit upset that there was not enough great welcoming experience. The rooms themselves, again, it's a new resort, it's a new part of the resort. Everything was brand new and it was exceptional. The design, the quality, everything is there. The mattresses were very, very firm. Again, I like it that way. If you don't, you might not enjoy them, but they're brand new, they're very hard, they're very firm. The next thing I will speak about in terms of the rooms is, of course, the bar that you have in the room. It was always getting filled. However, it didn't have a lot of selection. The bar was getting filled as we had things throughout the day, and they would always come in to clean and of course fill out the fridge. So that was very nice. Again, rooms were exceptional. It was just, you know, it was definitely one of the best rooms I've ever been to because, again, the modern design, the quality of everything, it was just very, very nice. And our windows specifically were looking at this like forest area, which was so, so nice. I loved the room. I will mention their bed sheets because in my opinion, they were very, very thin. And I, as someone who likes to sleep in a cold room and cover myself under a blanket, did not have the option to do so until I asked about it. So they were able to provide these blankets. Again, I've asked for one. They brought all three, which was very nice. And of course, pillows, I will mention that. They had all sorts of pillows. That was really nice. You know, some were more firm, some were more fluffy. You can find one that you like the most and sleep on it the whole week. You will love it. You know, I was very impressed with the amount of different pillows that they had on the bed, because very often they had, you know, mini pillows, but they're all the same. Here, they were different, and I was able to find the one that I really enjoyed. When it comes to the rooms, I'm gonna rate them 5 out of 5. Again, beautiful design, everything is new, everything is perfect. I love the rooms, 5 out of 5. That's enough about the rooms. Let's get moving. And the next thing I would like to discuss is food. Very, very important aspect of any resort that you go to, especially if it's an all-inclusive. You know, you are going there to eat. And I will say that here I was able to eat. I feel like a lot of food was definitely targeted towards different cultures and different, you know, cuisines. I was always able to find something that I would enjoy, and I feel like everyone was doing the same thing because of the variety that the resort provides. You have the option of 2 buffets. So number 1 is the tequila buffet. That one is a lot smaller. That one we used for a lot of the breakfasts. And then the other one is the Coba buffet. That one is a lot bigger, therefore more crowded, but again, you have more seating and things like that. I will say that the tequila one would get very busy, especially in the morning sometimes, where we would actually have to wait in line. At that point, we would just leave and go to Coba because there you don't have to wait to have your meal. Of course, for breakfast, they were making fresh omelets for you, which was pretty much the only thing I was getting every single breakfast. They have a huge variety of fresh and squeezed smoothie. They have lots of yogurt, lots of bakery, pastries, have fresh salmon and tuna everywhere, cheese. They have a lot of things that they're making fresh in front of you. Honestly, breakfasts were amazing. Same with lunches. Every time there's something going on, there's always somebody making food. I will say, again, it's not a new thing, the fact that they make food. Obviously, there's food. I was impressed with how much of that food was actually very tasty. I will not say that it was something exceptional or, you know, I was blown away with how tasty the food was, but it was definitely more on a, you know, more acceptable end in my opinion, where lots of food was very tasty and we were never hungry, we were never starving. The other thing I would like to mention about food is this resort has something called a food truck. There's actually 2 of them that we were able to discover. There's potentially more. We just probably never made our way to them. There's 2 that are very close to Grand Tequila. The idea of them and the, you know, the whole point of them is that if you don't feel fancy enough, if you don't feel, you know, whatever, hungry enough to go into the buffet, you can always go to those food trucks. The cool part about them is that they are literally, one of them is located by the main pool. So you can literally be wearing your bathing suit, grab some French fries, grab some chicken, grab some whatever, you know, wrap or some fruit and veggies, and then go back to the pool. You don't have to spend time going back to the room, changing, going to the buffet, all of that stuff. It's all right there in front of the pool. That was really, really nice. So if you are laying down at the pool and you want to grab a quick bite, or maybe it's, you know, nighttime and you are hungry after a party, definitely go to that food truck. There's always good selection there. especially if you go to the one that's near the beach at nighttime. There's a lot of raccoons kind of roaming around begging for food. It's a lot of fun. It's a very nice and quick option to get a quick bite, which again, I loved it. We went there quite a few times and the food there was actually very tasty. And the accessibility as well, the fact that you can just order from the screen, you can see the entire selection that they have very, very quickly, very easily, it's all there for you. I love that experience. It was really nice. When it comes to food at the buffets, I will rate it a 3.5 to 4 out of 5. It was not the worst, it was not the best, it was solid. I was never hungry. So overall, I would give it a solid 3.5 out of 5, but maybe even a 4. Moving on to the similar topic of food, but more of a restaurant experience. They have restaurants in the evening. And the way they work is that you're supposed to book your restaurants well before you come and stay at the resort. You're supposed to do it online in the app, and that was not communicated to us anywhere, so unfortunately we did not do that. But I think 7 to 9 days before you coming, it opens up to you where you're able to start booking your restaurants. And from that point, you can book any restaurant that you're interested in. And I think you get, for 7 nights that you're staying in, you get 3 restaurants for free. And we booked through another website. So we booked through Sell Off Vacations, I believe. And so we did not get notified about this experience, which was very unfortunate. However, we were still able to book a couple of restaurants. We went to the meat restaurant and the Mediterranean restaurant. If I'm not mistaken, again, I'll insert the videos here. You will be able to see what the experiences were like. My personal opinion, I will give a 5 out of 5 to the restaurants in the evening. Honestly, again, comparing to other resorts in the similar price point, I think that they've nailed their restaurants. You can tell the difference between their restaurants versus buffet. The service that you get, because again, they try to limit the amount of people that are able to attend. So it's not overcrowded. Therefore, the servers are able to take their time in order to serve you and spend time with you. The menu was spectacular at both, like you actually have a good selection, and whatever you choose, the level of those dishes was actually restaurant level. Like I was very, very impressed with the quality of food. Out of the 2 that we did try, I would recommend them both. I loved them both. Excellent experience, awesome atmosphere, just overall a very restaurant-like experience, which I loved a lot. The next thing I would like to talk about is the beach, as it is a very important aspect for anyone who enjoys to be at the beach. My personal rating would be 1 out of 5. It was honestly kind of horrible. In my opinion, the beach, even though it was very long, it was also very narrow. And so the way they did it is between, the moment you come to the beach, that area, of sand is not too long. And they somehow managed to put 3 rows of those beach beds. And so it felt very crowded. The only areas where people were actually able to sort of come into the water were very, very crowded. Like everyone was trying to get a bed next to that area, of course. And just in general, like it just, you really felt like there was so many people around you. I did not enjoy that experience at the beach. Like there was nowhere to hide from people. And the water itself was great. However, it was very, very rocky. Like, of course, that's not something that a resort can control. I fully understand that. But in general, like if you are looking for a good beach, in my opinion, this resort does not have it. So 1 or 2, that's my rating for the beach. I did not enjoy it. I did not want to come back there. Given how large the resort is, in order to get to the beach, you do have to take shuttle. Otherwise, you will be walking for a while. Those shuttles, in my opinion, deserve separate attention because they were amazing. Those cars are everywhere. They are going around the resort all the time, non-stop. Nighttime, daytime, morning, doesn't matter, always around the resort. They have a route that they normally go down. However, at nighttime especially, if you are walking down a smaller street or something, you're trying to get back to your room, they will always stop and ask you if you want them to bring you somewhere. So you don't have to wait at a specific bus stop and wait for certain times or whatever. You can be standing anywhere As long as, you wave at them. Or sometimes we were literally just walking down the street and they would just stop and see if we need any help or if we need to be driven. That was amazing. That was exceptional. The fact that you don't have to wait at a specific bus stop or anything like that. They're always there ready to pick you up. When it comes to the pools, specifically the Grand Tequila part of the resort had amazing pools. They had one quiet pool, which was almost like a jacuzzi. It was very tiny. You couldn't actually swim in that pool, but it was more of a relaxing area. There's supposed to be a bar there. If you want to get quiet, lay down, read your book, maybe get into the water every now and then, there's a bar. They don't serve alcohol there. It's just water and, kind of like sodas there. But it is very quiet, it is very peaceful if you would like to relax there. They also have a second pool that is much bigger. You can actually swim there. It's on the quieter side, so not a lot of going on there, but there's a lot of beds you can take. There's a lot of, area that you can lay down and relax there. It's pretty quiet, but it is connected to the party side. So that party side is where a lot of entertainment is happening. That's where they do activities. That's where they play music. That's where the pool bar is at. That area is a lot of fun. If you're younger, if you're looking for, party-like things, definitely your side. Activities were very nice. They had Zumba. They had, some sort of classes throughout the day. They had pool volleyball and other sorts of games. It was engaging. It was not pushy, like all the entertainment staff was trying to get to know you without actually trying to make you do things. Like, I loved how entertainment staff worked there. Overall, that whole area was amazing. I loved it a lot. One thing I'll add on entertainment as well is the fact that the same entertainment crew would have a lot of activities at nighttime. They had the pool party at nighttime. They also had some other parties going on in different parts of the resort. One thing I didn't enjoy is that one of the parties or two were, you had to pay extra. It's not a lot, it's like $10, but it doesn't really tell you what you're paying for, so you're not really sure what you're giving the money for or why it's pay extra. I was a little bit surprised by that. So, if that's something that you're interested in, maybe that's something worth checking. We did not go there. We didn't feel like we had to, pay for anything extra because, again, during the day there was a lot of entertainment at nighttime as well. Even if you were not going to the paid parties, there's still other things that are happening. Number one thing I would love to mention about the beach and the pool, mostly around the pool, is the towel service. Oh my God, I cannot sing enough praises to this place for the way they handle their towels. They do not count how many towels they give to you. They don't expect to get them back. You don't have to provide, a card before you get a towel back. It's literally take as many as you want. Don't even bring them back. We will find them either in your room or at the chairs. Doesn't matter. The fact that some other resorts have the policy around bring a card and then only then you get a towel and you have to bring the towel back and then give the card, receive it back. It's just a lot of confusion that you, as somebody who's trying to enjoy their, time off, should not be worried about. And so here they did not have it, which just made the experience so much easier. I never had to remember about bringing the towel back to, the station or not losing the card for the towel. It was just exceptional. Love that portion. When it comes to show at nighttime, we've attended one, and that one was the circus event. We loved it. When you go to anything in Mexico, I'm not trying to say that the entertainment is usually boring or anything, but you don't expect a certain level of quality, I guess, that you would normally expect at other places. Here, however, this resort with their circus and, all the tricks and everything that was done on stage, I was speechless for most of it. I felt like I was watching like Cirque du Soleil somewhere that's not in Mexico. So the fact that they have people like that at our local resort, I was very impressed. It was a lot of fun to watch. Unfortunately, that's the only show we've attended. But in my opinion, if one show is at that high level, I feel like all the other shows are going to be, up there as well. The other thing I would like to discuss is, of course, the staff and how we were treated throughout our vacation. I will give it a straight 5 out of 5. You know what? Let's do 4.5 out of 5, simply because of that move-in and check-in process where I felt like we were not being paid attention to. We were not being communicated as to when our rooms were going to be ready. Other than that, throughout the entire vacation, whether that's, cleaning staff, entertainment staff, chefs, servers, bartenders, it doesn't matter who it is, everyone was exceptional. I can't even like start naming people because literally everyone was amazing. We always felt, you know, taken care of. All the drinks were exceptional. That's another aspect I would like to highlight, is that, you know, especially if you tip them even a little bit, if you tell them exactly what you want, they will spend their time making that drink very, very tasty for you, which again, at other resorts at a similar price point, I didn't sometimes feel that way. Here, again, the way we were treated everywhere, the way our drinks were being made, the way our rooms were cleaned, everything was great. I loved it. The resort does have a gym. That gym is fairly close to Coba and not Tequila side. However, it is, you know, it's a short, I would say a 5 to 10 minute walk at most. That's where you get to, you know, exercise and whatever. My favorite thing about that as well is if your flight is later in the day, let's say like our flight was at nighttime, so we did spend pretty much the entire day at the resort, we were able to still, you know, be in the pool, have fun, and then before heading to the airport, we went to the gym and showered. So that was a good, you know, little thing that we did, and I would recommend that to anyone who's traveling later in the day as well. One thing I'll mention around nighttime life is I feel like, you know, there's not a lot of things to do, and a lot of things do close down pretty early. A lot of the bars would close down at 12, and the biggest issue was that they would be serving until 12, but they wouldn't be serving everything. So for example, if you come to them at like 10:30, 11 and you say, make me a drink, they will say, actually, I'm already cleaning. I can only give you beer that's on tap. So if you're interested in anything that's not beer, it's a little bit difficult to find drinks after, I would say, 10:30, 11 p.m. I wish they would push that time. And if it says we're closing at 12, that they would actually close at 12 rather than, you know, an hour for cleaning and whatnot. The other thing I liked a lot about this resort is the way they laid things out. So you obviously come in, you have the reception right there, you have the buffet right there, there's one bar, there's a little corner for your own little snacks and whatnot. And then there's, as soon as you walk out, there's another bar for nighttime, lots of sitting area, lots of entertainment happening there at nighttime. Very nice to either walk by or sit down and listen to some live music. And then your rooms are not much farther down. They're like literally at a 3 to 5 minute walk. They're right there. So that part felt very small. However, if you want to explore more, if you want to go to other parts of Bahia Principe, there's a lot more to cover, and you obviously have access to other parts of the resort. All right, you guys, if I had to rate our experience overall at this resort, I would give it a 4 out of 5. Overall, lots of positive feedback, lots of great things to say about this resort. I would definitely come back. But, you know, again, you have to weigh the things that I've said here and decide for yourself if that's something you're interested in. Because if the beach, for example, is like the #1 thing, then definitely, you know, it's not your resort. I would not recommend it. The beach there is not fantastic. However, if you really value the entertainment, if you really value the great food and drinks and, you know, the restaurants and all those types of things, definitely check out this resort. Great price point, great quality. I'm sure as they keep working through their initial, you know, first days of getting people in and things like that, I'm sure they will figure things out and make the process more smoother at the beginning. It's fine, you know, things go wrong, things happen. But overall, 4 out of 5. I was very impressed. I'm very happy that we went. Please let me know if you've been to this resort. Please, please, please let me know if you have any comments down below. I would love to help you with any questions that you have. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!